May the 7th, 2012, a day that changed my life totally. I'd been drinking heavily for 8 years, and I knew for most of that time that I had a problem with alcohol, and I would say for a lot of that time, I wanted to stop, and I wanted to change. I wanted to be a different person. I was always dreaming of being somebody else, and in my head, that way where you kind of daydream and you're playing out fake scenarios in your head, and I was always dreaming about being somebody better, I guess. But yeah, I guess I didn't want to change enough because, no matter how hard I tried, I always found a way back to alcohol. And with each attempt at stopping, it got worse. I went to darker places, I think, and I hurt myself and others more each time it kind of went on. Through the years, I was drinking for most of the time. I was sad. I was depressed. I was unhealthy. I hated myself. I was embarrassed by how I looked, my appearance. I hated my body. I was skint because I would just spend all my money on drinking, basically. I had no future ahead of me because I had no motivation to get better in my job, go for new opportunities in work. My drinking was getting worse, so yeah, looking back, I really didn't know where I thought I was going in life at that point, but yeah, all I wanted to do was drink because it made me feel happy. At least I thought it did at the time. When really it was just a vicious cycle, which was actually making me feel worse and worse and worse and worse as the months and years went on. And yeah. May the 7th, 2012, I'd been drinking for days non-stop, hardly eating, hardly sleeping. Once again, I ruined things with my then girlfriend, friends, my dad, again. I put my body and my mind through torture, basically. I had tried to stop drinking kind of 12 months previous to that, and that lasted 5 weeks. I say it lasted 5 weeks. I was kidding myself on. There was times where I would drink during that 5 weeks and just lie to people and just do it on my own and not tell anyone. But I guess it lasted 5 weeks because I wasn't really drunk during that time. But yeah, since that time when I tried to stop, it was probably my worst year of drinking in terms of how often and how much I was doing it. And when it got to that point in 2012, I was a mess. I was an absolute mess. Mentally, I was just all over the place. I was not in a good way. Yeah, physically terrible. I was the heaviest I'd been. I was inactive. My diet was terrible. Obviously, I was drinking a lot. The food I was eating wasn't good. And it was the lowest I had ever felt. I remember that day thinking how I felt, and I just remember thinking to myself, I don't want to be here anymore. And when I thought that, that's when I knew I had to stop or I was going to lose everything. I just couldn't believe I'd got myself to that stage where that's where I was, and that's where I was. That's the kind of things I was thinking. That's how I was feeling, and I just had no drive or motivation to do anything or move forward. And I just knew that this was a turning point in my life. And I said to myself that day, I am never going to drink again. I will never feel like this ever again. I'm better than this, and I will be a better person. And I sit here today, exactly 6 years on, and have never had one drop of alcohol. And it goes without saying, it changed my life in ways I could never even imagine. I think I knew it would improve my life, obviously, but I didn't think I would be where I am today, doing what I'm doing today and living the life I'm living today. So yeah, it's been a day of reflection. It's been a lovely day. I was out playing football earlier on, and then came back. It was still quite early, and the sun was out, and I just went and got a coffee, and I went to the park, and I sat in the park for hours, and I just thought about things. I just thought about where I am, how far I've came, where I used to be. Just it's good. Obviously, thinking back to where I was and where I am now is great, but there's always twinged with that bit of sadness. My dad was a big factor in me stopping drinking because I continually let him down, and that was one of the reasons why I wanted to stop drinking. I wanted to stop doing that, and obviously, he's not been here to see the good things that I've done since I stopped drinking, but so that's why, as much as I'm proud of myself and it's a happy day, it can be quite sad as well. I used to try and hide it from him, but he knew. It was bad. I was messed up a lot, in front of him, like family things. But when I eventually stopped hiding it and actually opened up and admitted to how it actually was and how bad it actually was, all he wanted to do was help me. And that really helped me, deal with the process of getting better, because instead of, I always thought if I was ever to admit to somebody, especially my dad, of how I was living my life and problems that I had, that would go the other way, that people would be, embarrassed by me or felt let down and angry, but it wasn't like that, and people who care about you just want to help. So when I stopped, and then, I told him before I was stopping, and it always never happened, so he was obviously probably thinking, is this actually going to happen? But then at the football, at nights out, and even my birthday, and I was drinking Diet Coke instead of alcohol, I could see how proud he was of me, and that was a great feeling. It was the opposite of what I used to do, in terms of I used to always fuck up. And all of a sudden now I was actually doing it. I was actually turning things around, and that was a great feeling. So yeah, just over 2 months after I'd stopped drinking, that's when he died. And when I got told, my first reaction was to go and buy booze because that was just how I was used to dealing with things, and that's how I felt it what would help me deal with it at that point. But I took a moment to think about it and decided that would be the worst decision I would ever make in my life, and I never done it. And yeah, I don't know about fate, but I believe me quitting 2 months before he died is fate, because I don't even want to think where I would be right now if I was still drinking when that happened. I don't think I would have had the strength to keep going, in all honesty, because even sober, it was obviously a very traumatic thing to go through. So I just don't even want to think what I would have done or how I would have coped if I was still drinking when that happened. I openly admit that I went to counselling because grieving and trying to stay off drinking was fucking difficult. I genuinely feel that I needed it at the time, and I genuinely feel that it helped. It definitely helped me. Sitting talking to somebody about everything, just somebody that didn't know you, doesn't know my friends, didn't know my family, didn't know anything about me. I just, it was a good thing that I decided to do. It was a big decision that I made to do that, and one that I maybe didn't know if I was going to actually do or not. But yeah, I done it, and I'm very thankful that I decided to do that, because it is a very hard thing to do, to one, admit to yourself that there's an issue, a problem, to admit to others. So, trust me, I was scared for years to open up and tell folk about this, especially because I was young. I was, when I stopped, it was just before I turned 25 years old. So all the reactions you get off people is just, oh, you're young, you surely don't have a problem, you just drink too much at weekends or this and that. And I can understand why people would think that, but people don't see day to day. They don't see how your mental health is. They don't see how you're feeling inside and how you're using alcohol to deal with things. And it is a hard thing to do. But yeah, I would just say to anyone, if you feel like alcohol is affecting you in the wrong way, please speak up and talk to someone and ask for help. You don't need to be waking up and drinking all day, every day to have a problem or to be an alcoholic. It's, if it's affecting your mental health, your physical health, your job, relationships with partners, family, friends, if you tell yourself you need to cut down and never do, if it's getting worse and worse, then maybe it is something you need to look at and change. I'll tell you why, because ever since I stopped drinking, I have lost 5 stone of fat, which is not just about looking better, it's about improving my health. I started training, which improved my health and my mental health, because I just, I joined gyms and stuff when I used to drink, but I would never go for any more than a couple of weeks at a time. I didn't have the energy, and obviously going out a lot, affects your ability to go to the gym, basically. I used to smoke, and stopping drinking is what made me or helped me quit smoking, because anytime I tried to quit smoking, as soon as I had a drink, that was me back on it again. And now I don't, obviously I don't smoke at all anymore, and stopping drinking was the biggest part in me being able to do that. I started playing football again after not playing for 8 years. Football was a massive part of my life. It was all I wanted to do growing up. I just wanted to be a footballer. I played in football teams from primary school up till I was 17. And then when the drinking started, I stopped playing, basically. And I didn't play one game of football all through those years. And when I stopped drinking and started going to the gym, lost the weight and got fitter, I started playing football again, and I absolutely love playing football. It's just amazing. So that is something that has really benefited me from now being able to do. Also, I don't feel depressed anymore. When I used to drink, I was, my mental health was really bad. I was just constantly feeling low, sad. Probably didn't realise it as much at the time, but looking back, yeah, I was not in a good place, and I don't feel like that anymore since I've stopped drinking. And obviously, exercising and playing football and eating healthy and all that helps with that. But I would say the one thing that made me feel the way I felt was definitely alcohol. I've afforded numerous holidays I could never previously afford because I just couldn't have any other money, and I went to Florida and that a few times when I was younger, and I always wanted to go back. And first year I stopped drinking, I says I'm going to save up and go to Florida, and I did. A year after I stopped drinking, me and my friend went to Orlando for 2 weeks because the money I was using to go out, I was saving for the holiday. And I've been on a lot of holidays, obviously, in the last 6 years, and it was just something I never done. I just never ever went on holidays when I used to drink. I have completed 3 Olympic distance triathlons, raising over £3,000 for charity, something I obviously would never have done if I didn't stop drinking, and that's something I'm very proud of. That I can say that I've done something good. I'm currently training for my first Ironman. I have a healthier diet. I just used to always eat crap convenience food and takeaways before I stopped drinking. I've gone from hating myself and being embarrassed about my appearance to having the confidence to do photo shoots. I don't let my friends and family down anymore. Instead, I feel I can be someone that they can be proud of, especially my dad. And the biggest one of all, I've become a personal trainer. I'm now fully self-employed, doing a job that I absolutely love, helping others change their lives in the way that I did, and that is the best feeling in the world. And all those things, all those positive things in my life that make me the person I am today are all only there because I stopped drinking. And that's massive. Like, that just, looking at all those things, I just can't imagine not doing those things, not training, not playing football, smoking. Like, I can't imagine going back to that. My mental health, like, I just can't imagine being who I used to be anymore. Obviously, people are scared to miss out on nights out and, the experiences that, going out and drinking can kind of give you. But trust me, if it's affecting in a bad way, there's just so many positives that will always outweigh the negatives, and you can still have fun going out. I go out, and not as much obviously, but I still do go out, and I go on stag do's. I've been on numerous stag do's to like Benidorm, Barcelona, Amsterdam, Newcastle, all 100% sober, and had an absolute great time. And I'm currently training for my first Ironman, which is an insane challenge and one that people think I'm crazy for, but in a way I think the endurance training helps replace what I miss from drinking, the feeling that it gives me. I'm pushing myself to my limits, and I feel like I need these things out of my comfort zone because it kind of like triggers something in me and gives me this feeling that I need and I love. And I definitely think that relates to my past. Obviously, like, I don't know if it's like addictive personality or whatever, but as soon as I discovered training, that was it for me. I was just that was my life from then on in. And this Ironman training just does something to me, man. Like, no matter how hard it is or how mentally tough it is, I'll always push myself to do it because I know the feeling that it gives me when I am actually doing it. And I've doubted myself a lot in this training for this half Ironman I'm doing this year. Yeah, I regularly doubt myself. And I feel like giving up sometimes. But yeah, this process has been very mentally and physically draining. But fuck giving up, you know. I'm doing this for my dad, to show him that I'm not a drunk waste of space, and to show him that even though he's gone, he still inspires me to be the best that I can be every day. I'm doing this for anyone out there who thinks that they're stuck in life, to show that you can fucking do it. You can change no matter how much you think you can't. You definitely can. You can turn things around. I'm doing this for anyone who struggles with alcohol and lets it get the better of them, to say, you know, don't be afraid to speak up and ask for help. Things can get better and you can get through it. I'm doing it for anyone who doubts themselves and doesn't know their potential. Look at my past. Look at me now. Anything is possible. I will be an Ironman, not to try and be anything but an inspiration to others, to show what's possible in life. There's always light. You just need to find it. And it took me 25 years, but I got there. If you feel someone needs to hear this, please share them the link or on social media. Thanks as always for listening, guys. I really appreciate it. Peace.